Endless steppes, majestic mountains, deep rivers, and beautiful lakes. Kazakhstan is famous not only for the amazing beauty of its nature, but also for its ancient history, unique culture, and hospitality. Let's go up to the clouds and then descend to the ground to get a good look at all of the charm of the Kazakh land. Charles McGrath, California, United States. Traveler, pilot, and extreme sportsman.
When I first started traveling, I used to follow the advice of Anosh Irani, which he gives in his book, The Song of Kohunsha. No matter how unfamiliar a city is, all you have to do is look up to see a familiar sight. But this time I'll do it a bit differently. At first I'll take to the skies and have a look at the city, and then I'll land and see everything up close. Now, you may have noticed that some of my previous adventures involved wildlife, and I liked it. But you know what? I miss civilization. And that means Karaganda, here I come. It is cold. The temperature has dropped quite a bit compared to southern Kazakhstan. Have you also noticed? Ah, right, you never answer.
Karaganda is a city in Kazakhstan and the capital of the Karaganda region. It is the center of industrial production, science, and culture for the region. Karaganda was established as a city on February 10th of 1934. It is located in the central part of Kazakhstan. Karaganda is the fourth largest city in Kazakhstan by population, ceding its position as the second largest in the country after Almaty in the early 2000s to Shymkent and the then new capital Astana. In Karaganda region, the main enterprises are coal mining, the production of industrial machinery, metalworking, and the production of food.
The first thing that catches the eye is that there are very few tall buildings. I mean, skyscrapers are non-existent here. And somewhere over there near the horizon, I actually see smoke. Must be coming out of some chimney for some large factory. Squares, parks, monuments. It's really difficult to see from this height, so I have to land and explore the city on foot. Well, now I'm in Karaganda, the mine capital of Kazakhstan. So let's get to know the city. I started my familiarity with Karaganda. The sign is very symbolic, with giant letters, a declaration of love to the city. Apparently it is genuine. There is some kind of likable aura in Karaganda. I noticed while flying that the buildings are mainly 5 stories. But the city bears little resemblance to the province. It's quite bustling and large. Also, while flying overhead, I noticed that there are many squares and a large number of monuments. I saw the buildings of the theater and the circus. First point of interest, which I'm getting acquainted with, is the monument Miner's Glory. I read on the internet that this monument weighs 20 tons. And by the way, it is not only a symbol of selfless labor, but was also considered a monument in honor of the friendship of the people of the Soviet Union. Well, we're at the Miner's Glory Monument, which is one of the most famous parts of the city. And actually, this is where a lot of young people meet to go out on a date. So I don't know if these two guys are holding up a big stone or a big piece of coal. Most likely, I guess it's coal. After all, the monument is called Miner's Glory. By the way, it was established in 1974 and became a symbol of the city. I should note that most of the monuments, however, as buildings in Karaganda, are typical representations of Soviet architecture. For those who study this era, this is a playground. So this is called Dom Kultury, or House of Culture. I continue to walk around Karaganda. The weather is getting noticeably worse, and an inner voice whispers to me that I should not have come here in the winter. Yes, I must admit that the climate here is quite harsh, but for a true traveler, the bad weather is not a problem. And yes, I have to admit that it is cold here. No, really cold. But let's get our minds off what my feet and nose are feeling and go back to what my eyes see. Once again, I'd like to note that the flavor of the Soviet era has been preserved perfectly. It gets along very harmoniously with the Kazakh national motifs. Very interesting architectural highlights, and quite different than anything I've ever seen. Well, at this location used to be the Lenin Monument, but since the fall of the Soviet Union, and actually in 2006, is when it was replaced with the Monument of Independence.
The height of the stela is 47 meters and the weight is 16 tons. The structure is built with a face of natural white granite, and there is gold leaf plate on all of the attachments. The architect of the project was the sculptor Murat Baysbay, a native of Karaganda and a member of the Union of Artists of the Republic of Kazakhstan. The stela is decorated on each of its four sides, symbolizing the fearlessness of a lion, the insight of a falcon, the power of a bull, the agility of a deer, and the cunning of a fox in battles with enemies. On top of the stela, there is a composition of an eagle under the sun. The golden eagle, or birkut, holds a special meaning for nomads. The silhouette of the eagle symbolizes the state's power, breadth, and vision. For steppe dwellers, the eagle represents freedom, independence, and striving for one's goals, for the heights, flying toward the future.
The wind has subsided and the bad weather receded. Now that my eyes are not full of snow, the walk is much nicer. And here's another monument. Well, here exists the only monument in Kazakhstan for Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin, who was the first man in space. I think we should take a selfie. I learned that another monument to Gagarin is in Baikonur. Well, you know, where the spaceport is. But in the cities of Kazakhstan, which are not directly related to space, really there are no monuments with such themes. Only in Karaganda.
There is a legend that the name of the city Karaganda came from a low-growing shrub with yellow flowers called Karagani, which grows in large numbers around the city. Karaganda's history began 175 years ago, when on one beautiful day in 1833, a Kazakh shepherd, Apak Bayjanov, was walking his flocks in the Sari Arki steppe and found the first pieces of coal in this area. The natural resources were not touched for a period due to the Civil War. In 1931, the Soviet government adopted the resolution to resume development of mineral deposits in Karaganda. The city entered into a period of intensive development. The population grew and created many homes and businesses. As a result, on the 10th of February in 1934, the settlement of Karaganda was given the status of a city, and the Karaganda coal basin was declared an all-union construction project. By 1940, Karaganda had become a major industrial and cultural center. By the end of the 1960s, the population of Karaganda had grown to more than 300,000, and by the 1980s, it was over 600,000 residents. The physical city was growing as well. New neighborhoods and subdivisions appeared, which became testing grounds for ideas of urban development. Architects and urban planners managed to create a fascinating and bright ensemble of homes with different physical configurations and numbers of stories. It was a period of very active construction, and the city saw the development of new cultural monuments and the erection of monumental sculptures. In 1983, the Karaganda Circus was built. In 1984, the city celebrated its 50th anniversary. In honor of the 50th anniversary of the decree of the Supreme Council of the USSR, Karaganda was awarded the Order of the Red Banner of Labor. Some famous former residents of Karaganda include Nursultan Abishevich Nazarbayev, the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan. From 1977 to 1984, he worked as the second party secretary to the Karaganda Regional CPSU. Tokhtar Angarbayevich Albakirov was the first cosmonaut of Kazakhstan and a graduate of the Karaganda Educational Aviation Center. Alexei Ivanovich Budakov was a Russian actor and performed in the Russian drama theater named for Konstantin Sergeyevich Stanislavski. Oleg Alexandrovich Moskayev is a famous Russian professional boxer.
Karaganda received its status as a city in 1934, and if you compare it with human life, you might say it's a young, beautiful lady whose appearance is always changing. Despite my comments about the spirit of the Soviet era, Karaganda is a pretty modern city. To get acquainted with its cultural life, I decided to visit the local theater. Well, now we're at the Sayfulin Theater, so let's go check it out. Hello. Wonderful. This way? Okay. I was warmly welcomed to the theater to see the show after return in the evening. But for now, I'm happy to take a moment and learn about the history of the theater. So I was told that the Karaganda Regional Kazakh Drama Theater, named after Sakyen Sayfulin, was established in 1932. From its first performances, it earned the love of the audience and the attention of the theater community. In 1964, it was named after the writer Sakyen Sayfulin. During the long years of creative work, many well-known Kazakh actors were on this theater stage, and famous directors worked here as well. Among the founders of the theater were such masters of the stage who received the title Honored Artists of the Republic of Kazakhstan. They are Koshkin Bayev, Shaimir Dienov, Zhabayev, and folk artists Shashkina, Atakanov, and many others. I think the talented directors who gave the audience a lot of interesting performances should be named as well. They are Atabayev, Biekozhin, Baisir Kenuli, Dazabayev, Esembiekov, and Kambarov. It would take a long time to list the names of all those who made a huge contribution to the development of the Karaganda theater. The portraits of these artists can be seen in its foyer. After a short excursion, I was allowed to attend the rehearsal. I could only understand a little bit since the performances were not in English. But it was a very interesting experience and a good example of Kazakh theatrical traditions.
Oh, thank you very much. Спасибо большое. Okay, bye-bye.
I warmed up while I was in the theater. Now I can continue to walk around the city. There are so many parks and small public gardens, a lot of trees. Most likely in the summer, they provide a good place to hide from the sun. You can sit on a bench in the shade and read a book. Yes, exactly, because Karaganda is famous not only for its coal mines, but also for its educational institutions.
In the city, there are a large number of transport, educational, scientific, cultural, and communication enterprises. Today, Karaganda is one of the largest industrial, scientific, and cultural centers of Kazakhstan. In the city, there are around 50 historical and cultural monuments, 3 theaters, and 3 museums. Fourth in population size among Kazakhstan's cities, Karaganda holds the annual relay race for the prize of the Industrial Karaganda newspaper. The races, which have involved up to 5,500 athletes, have occurred every year on the 1st of May for over 60 years. In Karaganda, there is an ethnopark, which includes a miniature model of the entire surrounding region. The city's face is changing rapidly. Its boulevards are being updated. The appearance and amenities of houses, administrative and cultural buildings are changing, and there are more modern shopping complexes and cinemas.
Now I wandered into the so-called Old Town. Karaganda citizens treat their history with care, trying to preserve the unique look of the city. They are mainly 2-story houses. These houses are usually called Hrushevka, small, cozy buildings. Now, whatever you might say, provincial towns have their own particular charm. Big cities are good in their own way, and here it's as if you've come to visit an old friend. No pathos, no official stuff. Everything is quite simple in a kind of family style. Here's another attraction. Kazakhstan is very respectful of the history of its people. I'm sure that in every city, well, in every village, there is a monument to this man.
This is a monument for Abay Kunanbayev, who is one of the most famous philosophers, poets, and composers of Kazakhstan.
Abay Kunanbayev was a great Kazakh poet, writer, and public figure, the founder of modern Kazakh written literature, and a cultural reformer who ushered in the rapprochement between local culture and that of Russians and Europeans on the basis of enlightened liberal Islam. While his real name was Ibrahim, his grandmother Seria gave him the nickname Abay, which means attentive or careful, and this name stayed with him for life.
Okay, I'm here in Karaganda at 0 kilometers.
For the first time in my life, I see a monument to a catchphrase. It's pretty hard for me to convey its meaning in English, but the essence is that the question about the location rhymes with the city's name. I'll try to reproduce the phrase. Where in Karaganda? But of course it rhymes in Russian.
Где? В Караганде.
I noticed another feature that unites all the cities in Kazakhstan. Everywhere, wherever you are, you will always find a memorial to honor the memory of the heroes who died during the Great Patriotic War. Although fighting did not take place on the territory of Kazakhstan, there's probably not a single family which didn't suffer. Fathers and grandfathers fought on the battlefield. But here, in the Kazakh cities, they had their own front. Here worked plants and factories, and every man and woman supported the forces from the rear. The eternal flame burns in memory of this history.
Well, the first eternal flame I saw was in Almaty. And it looks like there's an eternal flame in every major city in Kazakhstan to commemorate the heroes of World War II.
Pigeons. There's always a lot of pigeons near the monument that immortalize the memory of the terrible days in this history. This is not surprising, and it's very symbolic. These birds are, after all, a symbol of peace. There are lots of them because people often come here and feed the birds. They're not treated badly, they're loved and cherished. Kazakhstan is a friendly country. It's peace and tranquility and prosperity here. The Republic is home to a large number of nationalities, and they all treat each other with love and respect. Look closely, you see that people in Kazakhstan look calm and serene. They believe in the future. They set themselves high goals, create families, have children, and teach them to love their country, respect their ancestors, and seek a brighter future. You may think my thoughts seem too pretentious, but I'm telling you what I see and feel. I was going to spend the whole day in Karaganda, but I kept thinking about the smoke I saw while flying in my airplane. So I went in search of giant smokestacks.
Well, it looks like there's a lodge straight ahead, and I really don't want to walk all the way around this lake. So I prefer to take the shortest path. And hopefully, the ice is thick enough to support me. There's only one way to find out, so let's do it. I don't hear the ice cracking, so that's good.
Footage from various films where people fall through the ice came back to my memory at the wrong time. But I decided to walk on the ice anyways. I got my adrenaline up. Maybe I'll write a script for my next film, Lost in Ice. What a beautiful place this is. Frankly, it's really cold, but it's a wonderful feeling. Although I'm once again convinced that I feel much more confident in the sky than on the ground, or to be more precise, on ice.
I made it. And after a journey like that, definitely could use something to eat. Well, let's get to that lodge.
I found shelter for a weary wanderer. I love looking at an open fire. A few centuries ago, nomads, overcoming thousands of kilometers, gathered and warmed themselves by the fire the same way. Well, fortunately, I found a nice lodge out here, and it looks like a great place to have a good hot meal. Today, we're so fortunate that in order to eat, you just need to wait for a waiter and not go for a hunt. No need to run for a meal, they just bring it to you. Well, when you're traveling so long in such cold weather, it's really good to eat some homemade chicken soup to keep our bodies strong and healthy. And of course, tea. One could not live without tea in Kazakhstan. Well, after seeing everything in Karaganda, I'm now headed to Temirtau and looking forward to seeing their mine factory and everything else that they have.
Kazakhstan has a large variety of minerals. Of the 105 known naturally occurring periodic elements, 99 have been found on Kazakhstan's land, 70 explored, and over 60 elements are actively processed for use here. Kazakhstan has the world's largest explored reserves of zinc, tungsten, and barite, the second largest of silver, lead, and chromite, the third in copper and fluorite, the fourth in molybdenum, and the sixth in gold. The general deposits of explored coal in Kazakhstan are 162 million tons. There are about 10 major coal and lignite beds in the country and over 300 deposits. About 100 million tons of coal are mined annually in the Republic, and the majority of these coal deposits are located in the Karaganda region.
Here they are, those chimneys. This is a small Kazakh town. I don't think the crowds are lining up to get to Temirtau, but I was curious to get to know it better.
Temirtau is a city in Kazakhstan located in the Karaganda region. The name of the city means Iron Mountain in Kazakh, but another popular name is Kazakh Magnitogorsk. The city was founded around the largest metallurgical production plant in the country, ArcelorMittal Temirtau. Temirtau is the largest industrial center in Kazakhstan.
I walked fine through Karaganda. The weather checked my strength, but I was persistent in my desire and therefore was able to see a lot of monuments. I admired the urban architecture and got to know its theater. There I met a great theatrical troupe and learned a lot. I only saw rehearsal, but you can always enjoy the spectacle yourself. Tickets cost 500 tenge, and I let myself philosophize near the eternal flame, and I went in search of some great sights. After a walk on the frozen lake, I had a great lunch of soup and salad. The lunch cost me 1,500 tenge. And if after my walk you still want to visit Karaganda, on the internet you can find companies that will organize you a comfortable stay in the city.
Well, it's been another amazing adventure, maybe a little bit dangerous, but now I'm going to get in my plane and fly to the international airport, and I'm wishing you happy adventures as well.